there's pints of schnapps and there's beer in there and there's beer cans and you're drinking a lot of beer and perhaps alcohol. What made you hit those trees was not the cocaine, it was the fentanyl. In the keeping with today's bunch of,
Judge,
yeah,
can I approach you?
yeah, certainly.
Sure, can I get by that?
One second.
Dave, why don't you sit in the outside chair? Let Mr. George come in.
Thank you.
What? Sure, well, yeah, pull up a chair.
How do I adjust it?
Mr. Kiewit, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
This is file number 26339, People versus David Ken Kiewit. He's here with his lawyer, Mr. Tim George. Also present is prosecuting attorney Deborah Davis, assistant prosecutor Elena Frazier, and Priscilla Walton is here from the probation department. She prepared the summary screening report in this case. It has a FY suffix, which stands for felony. It started out as a possession of cocaine and the possession of other controlled substance, which would be fentanyl, and operating while intoxicated. In this case, it appears the intoxication was by a controlled substance. Another case, I'm not really sure what to do with this. Mr. Kiewit almost left this earthly coil on the date of this, which was last November. I still haven't exactly figured out where you were going. It was like 6 o'clock at night and you hit some trees and about killed yourself. Your blood alcohol came back as zeros, which was a surprise to me and probably everybody else. You had possession of fentanyl and possession of cocaine, crack cocaine. I didn't see any blood report that showed fentanyl or cocaine in your bloodstream. If it was there, I couldn't find it.
Your Honor, if I may, if there is an MSP lab report regarding that,
Let me look.
and send it to Mr. George. Did you get it?
I have it.
Okay.
What's the date of it?
Date completed January 9th. Let's see what day they sent it.
I have the one that shows no alcohol, and I have the one that shows the analysis of the substance.
It looks like it was sent out for discovery on 7/1. And it indicates there was the metabolite from cocaine and cocaine itself at 28 nanograms per milliliter and fentanyl at 1.6.
And also benzos.
The benzoglycanine is the, what I understand is the metabolite from cocaine usage.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me look again. I'm not crazy. I might be crazy, but these All right, thank you. All right, so having that information, Mr. Kiewit really doesn't have much criminal history. He has the telephone call case, and then he had the case that sent him to prison. He didn't go to federal prison, he went to state prison. And which turned his life and his family's life all upside down. Things have never been quite right since then. He's 11 years younger than I am. He looks 11 years older than I am. And he's trying to make his way in the world. Mr. George, what would you like me to know?
Thank you, Your Honor. And I know sometimes it can be routine for us to say, it's fortunate that nobody was killed, either my client or anybody in the community, but that is truly the case here. My client, in talking about this, it was a scary situation. And he was admittedly, I think on the interview that he did with Ms. Walton, he was acknowledging, the substance use was to help to try to treat some of the medical issues he's going through. Obviously, the court can see my client is dealing with some medical issues, really has a hard time getting around. But at the same time, that prior offense was about 30 years ago. He did do some time in prison and hasn't really had anything to speak of in the meantime. I advise my client that this court would likely put him on a term of probation. He's willing to comply with what this court wants him to do. Even if that's something where it gives him an opportunity to maybe address some of the pain issues that he's dealing with in a different way, I think that would be beneficial. As the court can see, I don't believe that my client has a prior controlled substance conviction. If the court were inclined, we would ask the court to use a 7411 as part of the reduction of the count one in this case. So really, I do believe that the recommendation is appropriate, but we would ask the court to consider whether this is something that can be done in 12 months instead of 24. My client has indicated that he's basically just going to try to stay at home, stay out of trouble, and do what this court wants him to do. Thank you.
Mr. Kiewit, do you have a source of income?
A disability.
I think you told me that before. Do you have any income off your property? You said you were selling hay. Do you have any?
My son, I work with my son, but I don't get the income from that. He's doing the work. He has another job. So if I can ride a tractor and help him, I do. My father did the same thing for me.
Yes. Now, you're not on your parents' farm. You're down the road.
No, we're still on the parents' old property. They sold 2/3 of it, and they kept 40 acres and a couple barns. And I live a mile down the road from there. And I farm. Then Tyler farms 100 acres across the street from my house.
All right. Now, this is operating while intoxicated. You're going to lose your driver's license, which is tough for a guy who lives out in the country. And I'll go back to you in a minute. Ms. Davis, we'll hear from you, and then Priscilla.
Your Honor, review of the file and Ms. Walton's report, I agree that I think the defendant is underreporting the extent of his usage of substances and his use of alcohol. Yes, there was no alcohol in the system at this time, but there certainly was a large amount of cocaine and the metabolites indicating that he'd been using more than just once or twice a week like he was reporting. That being said, his medical conditions too, the combination of those things and operating a motor vehicle are just not conducive to a safe society. And I understand that he lives out in the country and we don't have a lot of public transportation options, But when you're operating a piece of machinery, whether it's a tractor or a vehicle on the roadway, with his medical conditions, with his substance use, it's a ticking time bomb. I mean, we are certainly lucky that nobody was killed. He was nearly killed in this. From the reports, he was barely agonally breathing when the deputies arrived. They were able to get him the treatment that he needed. So having no license is kind of a blessing in our eyes as far as keeping him off the road. With that in mind, with his health conditions, I'm sure the jail isn't really jumping to want to have him in there. So I would leave it to the court's discretion on that. As far as 7411 probation, from what I can see on his CCH, it is accurate. He does not have any prior drug convictions, and I don't see that he has done a 7411 before. So we'd leave it to the court's discretion on that. Thank you.
Yeah, we all thought the same thing. His he reports he was using cocaine once or twice a month or every 2 months to help him kill the pain. He was consuming alcohol once or twice a week. He would drink 2 to 3 beers. The whole evidence belies all that. Your truck is like a cartoon of a guy that throws all his beer cans in the back. There's pints of schnapps and there's beer in there and there's beer cans, and you're drinking a lot of beer and perhaps alcohol. What made you hit those trees was not the cocaine, it was the fentanyl. And I don't have a good handle on where that came from. As you know, people are mixing fentanyl with all kinds of stuff. If I gave you a blood test right now and see what's in your system, what would show up?
Nothing that I know of.
All right, what did you take this day? You said you don't have a very good memory. What did you take that got you in that state where you were
I
barely
don't
breathing?
have any recollection of what happened that afternoon at all. I'm missing 2 or 3 days. I hardly remember the hospital.
Well, you remembered going to Walmart and
I
Lockport Liquor.
No, I never made it to Walmart. That was my plan.
Well, where were you? Were headed down M60. You don't live that way.
No, I don't.
Where were you coming from?
I really don't know. I don't remember.
Did you stop at the Eagles or something? That's out that way?
Not that I remember.
Priscilla, what's your thought here?
Your Honor, I don't have much to add as to from what is my report and what Ms. Davis, Mr. and George have added. But I do believe Mr. Huitt is underreporting his use of alcohol and substance abuse. As we stated, there was multiple cans in the back of his truck, whether, he says he wasn't drinking that day, and it's proven he wasn't, but he's obviously operating a vehicle at some point in time and while intoxicated. And like Ms. Davis said, he's just a ticking bomb he's really lucky that he survived this incident. He didn't hurt anyone else. I do believe a supervision is warranted in this case. So probation department can oversee that Mr. Huitt is not consuming any substance or alcohol.
Well, I have to put him on probation for him to be eligible for 7411 probation. On the drug charge. In the old days, that used to carry a suspension of your license. That no longer does. Order 10 days jail, credit 2. The 10 days ordered, 8 are deferred. Ms. Davis is right. In your medical condition, they don't really want you in the jail. There's 0 fine. There's a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee. I'm going to waive the attorney fee, although he certainly earned it. And I'm going to do a 12-month probation, and that's $480 oversight fee. Substance abuse counseling and treatment as directed, which may be prime for life, sign a release, no drugs, no alcohol. I want a test. In fact, I'd like to get a test today. I want to know what's in his bloodstream.
You can send them right to the day reporting center after this.
Yes. Are you prescribed pain medication?
Yes. I just had a tooth pulled a couple days ago, and they gave me like 12 Norcos to take. Other than that, I'm only taking Tylenol and aspirin for pain, and gabapentin,
Gabapentin?
which is Neurontin.
Yes. What is the source of all this?
I had spinal cord surgery. They replaced C3 and C4 vertebrae in my neck by rebuilding it with cadaver bones. And my spinal cord was cutting, or my vertebrae were cutting into my spinal cord. And they said I was one bale of hay being in a wheelchair. I didn't have any pain at the time. I was starting to lose feeling below my waist. And it wouldn't have been fair for my parents if I put myself in a wheelchair.
How old were you when all that happened?
About 50. I don't know when it happened. They don't either. They said it had been an ongoing thing.
Well, you were involved in all kinds of athletic endeavors.
It was an ongoing thing they said it could have been 20 years that it was happening, but it was happening slowly. Usually they have like a 3 to 6 month waiting list to get in to have spinal cord surgery with Dr. Fabi. They thought it was so serious that they had me in 18 hours.
The probation is going to be 7411 eligible. The OUIL charge, that there's no sense to put you on 2 probations. I'm going to give you, you're going to lose your license. That's punishment enough. Then you get 2 days credit, 2 days concurrent with the 7411. And no fine and cost in that case. Again, I don't know what you took. I don't know if you snorted some powdered cocaine, you smoked some crack that had fentanyl in it, whether you're taking fentanyl otherwise in a pill or liquid, or so I'm fumbling in the dark. But I want to know what's in your system right now. And we're going to find out what we're actually dealing with. Because if it is fentanyl, you can't just turn it off like a switch. All right, you go with Miss Walton. You're gonna do a drug test at the day reporting center. So we're gonna find out what's in your system. If your prescribed Norcos are in there, that's not an issue. But I want to know what else is in there. See,
The only thing they had me on was amoxicillin, was an antibiotic, along with the Norcos when I had my tooth
all right,
extracted.
well, that shouldn't affect anything. Get back to
Okay.
Mr. George, and you go with Miss Walton.
Thank
you,
you, Your
Tim.
Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Davis, you're off the hook now.
Yes, we're
Ms. Geschwind's
done.
got her 10 o'clock scholar. Let's do Ulysses Galvan Ayala.